Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Back in another episode of Daily Palantir Saturday edition. I'm trying to go 7 days a week. Haven't been able to go 7 days a week for the past couple weeks, so trying to be a little bit more consistent and see if we can get that Saturday and Sunday episode out there. And I think for Saturday and Sundays, I'm just going to try to take content that, I'm doing everywhere in the Palantir community and kind of stuff it in and make it more exciting for some of these Saturday, Sunday episodes where you don't need that much news, but you just can kind of sit back and relax and watch people talk. I know last Sunday I uploaded an episode of me talking to Rango, who used to be a Palantir investor, and we had a discussion of what it would take for him to get back in. So I think Saturday and Sunday are going to be more chill vibes, put it on in the background, and get your daily dose of Palantir that way. I went to meet Kevin, prominent YouTube personality's house over on Tuesday. It's kind of crazy all this happened in 1 week, but I went on Tuesday, did an interview with him in his studio in California, and came back on Wednesday. This studio was my first 4K high quality crisp camera cuts to both angles types of interviews. I've never done an interview like this. It's actually kind of crazy seeing, just how life has changed. In 2019, I tried to make an interview like that in like some random studio I tried to make here in New Jersey, and it's just nothing compared to the quality of this interview. Meet Kevin, manages $40 million of public money in his PP ETF. He also has a startup called HouseHack, manages $50 million of real estate. 2 million YouTube subscribers. Everyone either loves him or hates him, but at the end of the day, I don't think you can deny his work ethic. And he bought Palantir recently. Bought, I think, about 80,000 shares. And so I was really curious of like, hey, you are mainly focused in NVIDIA, Tesla, Enphase, semis, interest rate plays. Why are you buying an enterprise SaaS software company like Palantir? Because he really doesn't have any of those. He doesn't have Salesforce. He doesn't have Microsoft, things of that nature. He has Palantir. And so this was a really, really interesting interview. I'm going to play a clip right here. And on the Palantir Weekly episode last night, me, Sachin, Arnie, and Vince dissected what Meet Kevin was trying to say. And I was going to dissect it myself on this video, but I thought, you know what? That clip on Palantir Weekly, we actually did a really good job, I think, breaking down what he had to say. And Sachin added a lot of insights. So I think you guys will enjoy that clip for those that missed it. And you guys will also be able to see what Meet Kevin thinks about Palantir. One of the unique things I thought he was talking about was how he thinks about enterprise SaaS in relationship to AI. Obviously, you've got the NVIDIAs of the world that are like the GPUs that power the AI revolution, but there's then these third order derivative plays like a Snowflake, like a Palantir, like a Datadog. Are these companies also going to be successful when it comes to being able to operationalize AI for the enterprise? And he believes that Palantir is one of the only companies out there that has a chance of being successful, and his logic and reasoning behind it I thought was very interesting, which is why he bought Palantir in his fund. So here is Meet Kevin talking about Palantir. If you want the full interview, please subscribe to the new channel I'm launching, link in the description. This is a channel called Macro Darts. It is primarily based on macroeconomic news, breakdowns, and interviews. So if I want to talk about what Jerome Powell just said, if I want to talk about this, lawsuit between Coinbase and the SEC, all of this stuff really doesn't fit on this channel. This channel is more optimized for a Palantir audience, which I respect and I understand. So I'm starting a new channel, and on that channel, it'll be more freely being able to talk about those types of things. We're at 700 subscribers already, which just absolutely means the world to me. So if you guys want to subscribe to that channel, if you don't like it after 2 weeks, you can unsubscribe. But if you like the content after 2 weeks and you don't mind seeing that video in your feed, even if you don't click on it, I would deeply appreciate it. And it would mean the world to me if you do subscribe to that channel. If we can get to 1,000 subscribers, that would just be really, really, really cool, because getting to 1,000 subscribers on a new channel is very difficult. So if we can get there, if people enjoy some of the macro analysis, if you're part of the market open, you hear some of my macro stuff and you want to hear it on that channel. I'm not the best at macro. I'm getting better at macro. I'm learning a lot every day. I'm like full-time dedicated to trying to understand how to be a better communicator of the markets. If you want to take a chance on that channel, that would mean the world to me, and a lot more interviews on that channel coming as well. All right, here's what Meet Kevin has to say about Palantir.
Palantir.
Oh yeah, I like Palantir.
Why did you buy Palantir at $18.83?
Yeah. So Palantir, I think, is the only profitable AI play that exists. I think Microsoft is like faux AI.
Really? You think Copilot is faux AI?
Yeah, I think most of it is gimmicky. It's sort of like label it on and attach it on. Like it's like bolt on AI.
Right.
So, but to really get think about this. What was AI before AI was AI? It was big data.
Correct.
Who was doing big data analysis? Palantir.
Right.
So Palantir didn't even have to change anything. Palantir is just like, we're just going to keep doing what we do, which is basically now AI. So
right.
It's, commercial AI for freight, shipping, logistics, or policing, or scheduling, government, right. Whatever, right? You've got everything, intelligence. It's fantastic. So that's just like AI. That's always been AI. Then you've got bolt-on AI, which is like, yay, page, like your, Microsoft Word or whatever. whatever can now include, whatever Bard or
Right.
Google Bard, Copilot would be the more Microsoft one, and you got GPTs.
Right.
I don't think that these competitive, and Grok with Twitter or X, I don't think that these competitive services are anything more than having like a voice assistant. They're going to become so monopolized that there's not really going to be a premium. It's kind of like you have it or you're a loser. So in other words, you're not going to get an incrementally greater amount of profit because you have it, because everybody has an LLM.
Right.
So I don't think LLMs are where the money is. I know the GPT revolution was pretty wild when it was like AI in the hands of consumers. And there are a lot of people who pay $20 a month, myself included. Do I think GPT, for example, is worth $100 billion? Hell no.
Right.
Like all of these are going to compress in valuation. There'll be an AI valuation crash. I'd much rather be in the chips or in Palantir than in like the nonsense AI that I see. I think Microsoft valuation's ridiculous. I think it's just a safe place to say we have AI exposure. Salesforce is another one of those.
Sachin, your thoughts on that? Microsoft is fake AI. Companies overvalued. People just want to pull money into it to be safe because they branded AI. They have OpenAI. OpenAI is overvalued at $100 billion, and Palantir is the place you would rather be. Cumulatively, what do you think about that argument?
I think my answer is in the simple 5 bullets. Okay, Microsoft is leading AI because they have partnership with OpenAI. Okay, so that means there is an external partner. Second thing is all these products they have, which is Copilot and ChatGPT API. And I mean, if you see it, what they're telling, okay, now I can make PowerPoint for you. So ask us a very simple question. There is a company which is telling a small country in war front that you have limited weapons. How do you optimize your weapons? Okay, for better efficiency, versus a company that is telling you, oh, let me make some PowerPoint for you. So that's the level of skill we are talking about. Okay, that is 2 part. Third part is, see, Microsoft, like I have said before, it's the world's biggest commoditizer. They make everything at the end of the day in a format where it is usable, but just nobody likes it. Like you saw what
Like
happened with
Teams.
Skype and MS Teams.
Everyone uses Teams,
Okay.
but it sucks, right?
So okay, and so that's a third part. So thing is that's their version of the view that this is how things to be done. So that is the third part. The fourth part is, see, they are never in business of enterprise to give you a finished product. Their idea is that we will give you a pass, we'll give you a bricks, okay, but you make things of your own. Because that's what big tech does. They don't give you a finished product, okay, which is expecting, that means you need partners, and partners are small. That means you also expect that somebody like on the other side client knows what they are doing, okay, and then nobody knows what they are doing, so then they bring someone like Accenture or some other companies to, okay, can you tell us what to do? So at the end of the day, what happens is that you get a circus. Okay, eventually if you practice enough, you can make a circus and acrobatics work, but not everybody can do it. So the thing is, you want that or you want something finished. Okay, how many people actually assemble their PC, or do they buy finished laptop and all? Did you assemble your Mac that you bought just from it? No. So at the end of the day, you also have to see how people consume products. Okay, last and not the least, I think this is where I slightly disagree with Meet Kevin and have a different opinion in a way. See, what criticism he had on OpenAI is true, but it is also true that OpenAI has pivoted a lot since it started. If you use OpenAI today, okay, the Chat GPT and the way the marketplace is expanding and the way they are extending in enterprise, it's infectious. And the reason for that is because they were able to tell the world first time what a consumable AI product looks. How do you consume?
But is that
AI?
worth $100 billion?
See,
at this stage,
they have a they have a premium because they created this euphoria. If you, like I said, valuation is always in the eyes of beholders, depending on where they are going. If you ask me today in terms of simple, like in order to have a $100 billion valuation, somebody at least need to have $5 billion revenue. They don't have it.
right?
But are they going to have it by the end of 2024? Most likely, yes. Okay, so I give you a very simple example. Okay, I'm telling you that Palantir will have a $20 billion free cash flow by the end of 2030. So how do you going to value Palantir now? The free cash flow they have today, or the free cash flow they are going to have in 2030? And that's the trick with the valuation. So if you take the case of 2030, 20 billion free cash flow, and you say at that particular time, okay, I'm saying that the PE has to, for this company, has to be 15. So 20 into 15 is 300 billion. Okay, and if you take 10 to 12% discounting as of today, then 4-6 year discounting, Palantir has to be valued somewhere between 100 to 120 billion as of today. Is it valued like that? It is not valued like that, because the view is based on the 2030 on that part. Okay, now that what happens if somebody, or let's say mass market, has this view, so they are not valuing it at 120 or 130, but they start valuing it something like 70 or 80 billion.
Right.
Then what happens, that people who are doing a simple DCF cash flow right now based on what they have, they will say the company is expensive. The question is it? Because it is based on the view what will be in 2030. So that's the view in case of OpenAI. OpenAI valuation is driven by the future metrics.
Right.
Okay. In case of Palantir valuation is driven by the current metrics, and the future metrics are been discounted a lot, which in my view is a mistake. Because when you talk about having a larger solutions moving forward, or larger clients moving forward, Palantir has a better chance. So is it a right valuation? There is no right answer for it. Okay, because it is driven by a future view where more weightage has been given what will happen in future. In case of Palantir, more weightage has been happening what has happened in last quarter. So that's the difference. Back to you guys.
Arnie, agree with me, Kevin, that Microsoft's fake, Palantir is real.
Well, I would not define fake, but I agree with the underlying idea that these models are already in the process of saying, okay, it was a wow, now it is already, it is one of these potentially K LLMs that just become an input for where the value is created. And I think here is the big difference between what the venture capital world is doing, what the also Microsoft is pursuing, this idea of models, but at the end of the day of chats, while Palantir is the only one truly hitting the point of using these models, these KLLM models, to actually deliver business outputs. So it is clear for Palantir that the model is just a tool that enters in a bigger framework with the goal of delivering business output, be that more revenues, be that more efficiency, less cost. And this connects with what Karp mentioned about so far LLMs seem more self-pleasuring tools. So you send the input, the model gives you an output, a poem, poetry, whatever, makes you feel gratified. You are actually doing something useful for your company, but at the end of the day, the output of a company is what matters. So a model, a chat, doesn't automatically translate into value. So this is the big difference I see from the narrative Microsoft is pursuing with OpenAI, which is clearly a very different product from Palantir AP. But that is where the attention is. And I think what Sachin mentioned previously about you want AI to essentially replace the low quality work with bots. That is where the real value accrues, because a chat gives you an output, which is fine, helps you have like incremental gains, but having a bot that substitutes all your not really intellectual work better than you, that is not marginally incremental work, that is transformative. So while I see right now, once the breakthrough has been done with OpenAI, everything I'm seeing now is more incremental. And also Chamath at the All In podcast explicitly said that essentially last week he shared, I already feel these models are commoditized. Where the real value accrues is where you organize many models, you ensure the compliance, you actually ensure
Palantir,
that
basically.
that was a perfect pitch. Like, probably we could not make a better pitch for AAP. Actually, I encourage Palantir people to actually take those sentences and brand them as theirs because that was the perfect pitch for AAP.
Sachin, go ahead.
Guys, I think sometimes it's very difficult to wrap your hand around it. So I think it is good to see some analogy. See, today it's very easy for you to think that Amazon can deliver on the same day. Okay. Now, if you go back, okay, in 1990, it was not like that. Why Amazon become something like this? Because they're starting collecting data on their customers. Then they're starting also collecting data how the trucks are moving around. Okay, if you remember, they did a very big exercise at some point of time where they wanted to map the routes to optimize the routes of trucks, because they had a focus that we want to deliver our client cheapest and fastest, because if we can do that, that's a moat for us. Amazon is not big because they were the first e-commerce company. Is that how they did it? Okay, so when we talk about commoditization of data, okay, this is a bit implicit. Okay, you can have models and all, but nobody is going to get the same output from that. Okay, it is always about getting insight, and AI is not about commoditizing model. AI is about getting insights from the model. Okay, so somebody who's building model, so, and this is what people need to understand, that AIP is focused on insights, operational insights, actionable insights. So the someone who can give more actionable insights, okay, that's the better product. And that's where we have to focus it. You remember like how much difference, because they try to think from Amazon point of view. Okay, people will say, I mean, I had the next day delivery. Why the company has to go and deliver in one day? It doesn't make sense. Think from Amazon point of view. When you are delivering in 2 days versus 1 day, that means your cash cycle is actually shortened by 50%. The moment you recognize revenue, at what point you are recognizing revenue? You are recognizing revenue. Okay, so I buy something, I pay cash to Amazon. Okay, Amazon has to hold this money. He has to pay the supplier later, but the revenue is not recognized. Revenue will be partially recognized probably, but once the product is delivered. So Amazon has to wait 1 day to actually recognize that revenue. Now you doing in the same day. That means within the same day, the revenue is recognized. And then these numbers actually reflect when the earnings are coming in. So yes, it fucking makes sense when somebody tries to do it, because that's how you are going to value a company, what you see in the earnings. Okay, so yeah, models can be commoditized. Okay, like for example, Google buys search data from Apple. Why somebody else, why Microsoft doesn't go, okay, we don't care, but we also want to buy some data from you or something like that? Okay, because Google is not buying just because that it's about the data. It's also about like, okay, we know we can serve your customer better, and if you don't have Google on Safari, your customers are going to complain to you. So the product they are delivering is more important at the end of the day, and that's why, I mean, there's a lot of discussion which is happening about commoditizing models. See, it's not about, the idea is not about commoditizing model. Idea is always about getting actionable insights, and that is the difference between big data versus AI. It's not about building models anymore. It's about doing things, and it's about doing things better. And that's where AI has to be taken slightly differently in context with how the big data has been commoditized.